Okay.
Okay, so these are the instructions for how to measure your feet properly. I'm going to do it on lovely Rachel here, and please follow them very as they are, so we can get as close to your measurements as possible. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a foot tracing of Rachel's foot and take a tracing of the arch with a pen, and this like a manila folder is good to do it. I'll write her name down up here. Rachel Reichert. And we will write the date, which is what? The 19th?
Yes.
And you guys put the month before the
2/19.
2/19/23. Great. The date and name. So now we're gonna do the foot tracings, and I'll get you to stand up and just kind of stand just as you would stand, basically, and just distribute your weight evenly as you would basically. Yeah. So I'm going to hold the pen straight up and down and just run it along the side of the foot and just take a tracing of where it's hitting the ground. Let's get right up in here. Thank you, Liz, for your excellent camera work. Whoop. So that's around there, and then I'm gonna feel in where her arch is, and then kind of just hold the pen, don't move. Hold the pen in my finger, and then just run it along where I can feel her arch there. Very nice. Now, hello, Hazel. As well as the tracing, I'm also going to, I'll do your paws next, Hazel. As well as the tracing, I'm also going to measure a certain point. So this here is her ball, this kind of widest part of the foot there. I'm going to just put a line there to mark that, and the other side of, is that your pinky toe there?
Yeah.
So that looks like the ball there. And make note of any other little things. And Rachel's got a small bump there, so I'm gonna just put a little circle there to make note of that little bump. And I'm also gonna mark where her pinky toe is. And now the other mark, I'm looking for like a little bone there. It's often kind of difficult to feel when somebody's standing up, but when she sits down, we can find it as well. That's an instep, but I'm just gonna mark that. There. Excellent. Now I'm going to do the other foot exactly the same. Trace it. I'm going to feel with my finger where her arch goes, so we get that all nice in there. Mark the ball. Outside ball. Just got a little spot there too, so I'm going to put a little note of that. Mark the pinky toe. Is that what you call pinky toe?
Yeah.
And then the instep bone out here. All right, very good. I'll get you to sit down now, Rachel. And the next thing I'm going to do is take a bunch of measurements off your foot. So I'll just get you to cross your right leg over, yep, like that, or just like that, yeah, and just let it sit. Don't hold it tight or taut or anything like that. I'll get you to get a shot of this, Liz. Now I'm gonna do, I don't know why a lot of bootmakers do the right foot first and they put it on the left side of the page, and I have just adopted that as well. So this is where we're gonna mark a bunch of things. We're gonna do SH for short heel measurement. This will make sense once I'm doing the measurements, but for now I'm just writing them down. Long heel, instep, high instep. And then instep, inept, whoop. Can't spell, there we go, inept. Just kidding. And then what have we got next? Waist and ball. Waist, ball, calf. So if you draw up a little thing like this, this is where we're gonna record the measurements. Thank you. Pull that in nice and close. Like that, right, and then left. Okay. Now I'm gonna get this little measuring tape and I'm gonna do a bunch of measurements. And please take note of where I'm doing these. I'll need you to get it right and close so we can see.
Photographer on myself.
That's all right. So I'm gonna start from the bottom here, except the calf. I'm gonna do that after. So I'm gonna start on the ball, which is like the widest parts of the foot up here. And so that looks like there to there, and should be where I marked on the paper as well. I'm measuring in inches. And we have, I kind of pull it tight and then let it go loose. So then the bowl looks like 8 6/8. So I'm gonna write that down there. Now we're doing the waist, which sits right, the waist sits in here, which is right behind the bowl. It's, yeah, pretty much, that's that. And now I don't pull it too tight, but you can pull the waist a little tighter because it's not going to be squeezing on bones as much, you know, like there or on your instep. It's just the kind of, well, it's the waist. So we got 8 3/8 on there, it looks like. Excuse my messy writing. Now the instep here is a very important one. I'm going to feel around on the top of her foot for this bone up here, which feels like it's about there, and that should be kind of about where it is, about right. And then along the side for that bone that I said I was going to point out, which you can sort of usually see there, and you can feel it. And this is an important one because obviously cowboy boots don't have any laces or any room for kind of adjustment there. So if it's tight over the instep, that's going to really hurt the foot. So we want to get that one really nice. So I found both of those bones. And so I am going to measure around them. And that is 8 7/8. I'm going to write that down, but I'm going to hold my thumb over that instep bone, and I'm going to go from here and do the long heel measurement. So that instep bone is where you're going to know to do the long heel, which goes around the back. Can I get a little shot of where I have that? So it's sitting around the back like that, and from that same spot we're going to do the next measurement. So this one is 13 5/8 for the long heel, which is under the LH section here. I've skipped the high instep, but I'll come back to that. And this is the short heel. This is a very important one. So see how that's going around the heel like that and coming up over the front of the heel here. That's going to make sure that we get into the cowboy boot, no problems. Okay, so that looks like 12. And I'm going to go back to this high instep here, which is going to go over here and go over that instep, that side bone that we pointed out before. There we go, 9 3/8. Okay, cool. 9 3/8. Now, and then you do the same thing on the left hand side. So I won't do it for the sake of the video, but you do the same thing. Last thing I'm going to do is measure her calf. So I'll get you to stand up, Rachel. So depending on what kind of boot, a lot of people usually want, they'll wear their boots underneath their jeans, so they need a little bit of room. So I'll measure over the jeans, but sometimes people want them much closer to their calves, so you can measure them. If you're gonna like only wear them with skirts or want them kind of right up on your calf, then you can measure under the jeans on a bare leg. But most of the time we measure them with a little bit of more room around the calf. So I'll get you to stand straight and just, yeah. Usually we measure at the fullest part of the calf, which on a man is usually at about 14 inches. I'm gonna measure at 13 for a gal. So I'm gonna write down here calf at 13 inches, which is kind of the fullest part of her calf. And then depending on what height boot she wants, I'll be able to at least know that that's gonna be the fullest part. So measure up to 13. Grab the tape. There's quite a lot of jean here, but that's all right. So it looks like 15 and 2/8 around the calf over the jeans. And I'm gonna just make note that I measured over the jeans. There we go. Yeah, and depending on what height boot you want. I mean, that's a 13, that's a standard Western boot height. Sometimes people want them a little further, and in which case you're gonna need to make a few extra measurements. But if we measure it there, if you want a shorter boot, then I'll be able to build it off of that and the other measurements that I have. So, all good.